Other form is also the breaking news. Ghanatube, just a Bank of Ghana. It's also the another update about other for NCBA na Cedi near appreciate against the dollar. See, I know ejebo ejanyamba bedu. Say information about beto ni say dollar no esansu nya ahwode. See, I mean okasa kaneno na $1 equals 10 Ghana cedis. Sisi ameno kasa ni sisi an $1 equals 11 cedi 60 pesos. Other $4 no esanso appreciate against the cedi. Other for muma enko ne enko ti nsema ekoso ewo Bank of Ghana akachi number this year.
Thanks so much for your company. I am Pius Kojobaka, and looking at our stories. For the first time in several weeks, the Ghana cedi depreciated week on week against the US dollar and other major foreign currencies in the retail market. The local currency lost 3.52% against the dollar last week, 2.01% to the pound, and 3.08% to the euro. More in this report for you.
Cedi traded at a mid-rate of 11 cedi 75 pesos against the American greenback. The weak performance of the cedi in the retail market last week was due to elevated demand pressures in the forex market. However, the local unit strengthened slightly against the US dollar in the interbank market, appreciating by a modest 0.29% to close at a mid-rate of 10 cedis 25 pesos to a dollar. Databank Research believes the softer than expected May 2025 US labor data weighed on the dollar across major pairs, driving a modest cedi gain on the interbank market. However, it pointed out that although renewed trade negotiations and tempered dollar sentiment may anchor cedi stability in the interbank market, intensifying forex demand from repatriation-related outflows is expected to exert pressure in the retail market. This could constrain broad-based cedi gains in the near term, despite relatively subdued sentiment in anticipation of the $370 million International Monetary Fund disbursement.
All right, let's analyze this further. Joining us via Zoom is manager of macro.
Other for breaking news near Kosun. Yes, see, no air dollar and started appreciate against the cedi. Yes, cedi ni weakening. We shall caption almost cedi weakens slightly. Now trading at 11.60 Ghana cedis to the dollar. This year, cedi no ahu then baffum against the dollar. This year, $1 equals 11 Ghana cedis 60 pesos. Other for when sema cost Bank of Ghana akachi Central Bank of Ghana. I'm speaking in a bro. Ghanatube caption almost cedi comes under some pressure for the first time in several weeks on the retail market as $1 equals 11 cedi 60 pesos. We are live with a current analyst on just say nema ekoso yes see cedi no ahoden abafum against the dollar. Dollar is also appreciative biom. This year $1 equals 11 Ghana cedis 60 pesos. So for my call neza nko tie in seminar ekoso no ewo Bank of Ghana akachi number this year.
Economic Research at Ghana Commercial Bank PLC. Courage Buti, thank you so much, Courage, for agreeing to speak to us, and good to see you. Now, first off, what do you make of the current development at the Forex Bull market when it comes to the cedi's performance? 11 cedis 60 pesos, we are learning to the dollar.
Oh, yes. Good evening, and good evening to your listeners. I think we all agree that the run of appreciation wasn't going to last forever. And I don't think what is happening is out of the ordinary. It is really the normal dynamics of the market. Demand supply interplay. At a point, cedi was 17 cedi to a dollar. We ended last year with around 14, I think, 0.8 thereabout. And it has corrected sharply to this level. When it's correcting, you saw people lose money. Speculators, people who had dollars, they tried to sell. To probably cut their losses and all that. Now it's expected that the normal J-curve effect will happen right after it bottoms out, stabilizes around 10.24 thereabout for a few days or so. You will begin to see people try to test the result. How strong is the appreciation? How strong is this resilience? They want to test it for and it's a normal market dynamics really. Now the question is, if they test it and the interventions that brought it to this level is not sustainable, then you begin to see clawback to levels that you do not desire. If the liquidity intervention or the reserve levels are not encouraging, if the policy foundations are not strong, if the market sentiments are not as anchored, then you begin to see a reversal in very sharp levels. But what we are seeing now from, I think, a bottom of around 10.2425 thereabout, depending on which rate you are looking under the market, because the retail rate never really got to 10.24. So if you look at that, then you are looking at 10.7 as we speak and going into towards the 11s. I think it's a normal dynamic given the pace at which it came down. And then it would have to do that until it finds a level where it is stable and you are not seeing very significant movements. So for me, what is happening is to be expected. I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary.
So it's one of those blips on the Forex market.
Definitely, in my view.
All right. So do you find it interesting that on the interbank market, for example, the Cedi is doing well, but when it comes to the Forex market, it is struggling?
So the interbank market is for the banks. Currently, banks are awash with liquidity, right? In fact, dollar liquidity. So most of them are looking for places to even place them, either through some investment, encouraging some dollar loans. And your, if you like, corresponding banking relationships are not very keen on holding dollar for you at this point. So there are limited options to do. So banks essentially will not be actively seeking to trade among themselves for FX. Each one of them have enough. And so if you see rates going down on the interbank market, it's a reflection of that. Demand supply interplay. And if the supply is overwhelming and demand is not so much there, you see prices fall. And that is what the dynamics are. What is happening on the retail segment of the market, which is where you are seeing the slight movement, is that those speculators, those people who want to test the waters, that is where they play, right? And so after a run, a spate of appreciation, and then now there's a sense of stability. You give it a few days. You want to see, is this really rally, really strong enough? Could they reverse? So if I have some demand, you want to put it in there and see what the rates will look like. And that could create a spin if maybe 2, 3, 4 days, 5 days of trying that yield result, then to create a spin where there will be a whole run of reversal. I don't think that is what is happening. So that usual movement from around 10.6, 10.5 on the retail market now to 10.7, 10.8 approaching 11. If you look at, you are seeing daily appreciation of 50 pesos, 40 pesos, and now within 2-3 days, you are seeing maybe an upward movement of about 20 or 10 pesos, 20 pesos about. I think it's a normal movement given the pace we saw it come down. Now, if after observing a week 2, you are seeing rate go back into maybe 11.50, into 12, going into 13, then you will know that probably we are in trouble. But that's the case now. I think it is the normal activity of the market, and you expect not stability at a rate, but some movement around a certain, if you like, medium rate, or if you like, middle rate. And if those movements are not too pronounced, it shouldn't be too much of a concern. And that is exactly what I see happening. The movements are there, but not very pronounced, and it's around a certain central figure. And so I think it's a normal interplay of the market until the market finds a level it's comfortable with.
Order 4, yes, see, nneɛma nti a anase nneɛma bi a ɛkɔ so nti a ɛyɛ de dollar no appreciate against the Cedi na nche bia time na aye John Dramani Mahama mbetena so no na dollar no nam somewhere around 14 to 15 Ghana cedis to $1 na 14 to 15 Ghana cedis to $1 and na kakaka ba ye see na be 10 ba be 10 Ghana cedis to $1. This year amene okase dollar no esanso appreciate against the Cedi. This year no $1 no ekeka ko be 11. This year no $1 ye 11 cedis 60 Ghana pesos odofo ye say dollar no esanso appreciate against the cedi na sanya manama we nyina is as a result of demand and supply amountfo send your rush dollar no against the cedi no in the forex market ni international market ni forex trading na adin nyina no na ni nyina na guarantee na ma say dollar no esanso nya ahoden against the cedi in kakra gradual process wa shout me say ko in kakra as against the cedi odofo when ensema ayedija ewo Ghana asi obi aka wanse ma meso bigi nyina brew ewo Ghana chibodo for man call na yentu ansem so batisia.
For how long will the market find that level of profitability really?
To be fair, my revised projection of exchange rate by end of year is 12 Cedi 10 pesos. In fact, 12 Cedi 70 pesos was my revised forecast, but within a band of 50 pesos. So it could come as low 70 pesos. I mean, so it could come as low as 12 Cedi 10 pesos or go to even 13 Cedi, if you like, 50 there about pesos. So that is the band I'm looking at it, and I think at the current levels and how it's playing, and knowing what we know about the fundamentals of the economy now, the reserve levels, the monetary stance, and how cautious it is and trying to re-anchor inflation expectations and general prices. You look at the fiscal stance, yes, and there is a twist to, I dare say there is maybe an explanation to the imposition of even the petroleum revenue tax that is generating conversation really. If you look at it, the exchange rate appreciation led to the government has a certain benchmark oil revenue in the budget against which they project what the ABFA will look like. Now, oil prices falling on the global market, Cedi is also appreciating. So your revenues from the oil taxes are falling short, and your benchmark revenue from ABFA is also falling short because of the dynamics on the market.
Very well.
So the imposition of that tax is trying to plug that revenue gap. And so if you see fiscal policy responding to some of the shocks that are coming in, and the monetary policy is also accommodating or trying to be cautious, then the policy stance is right to anchor the Cedi's position. And that is what I believe will ultimately play the game going forward. So for this year, I'm not too worried about Cedi. I think likely will fall within that forecast band that I put across.
Very well.
And
Thank
so
you so much.
See movement here.
Manager Macroeconomic Research, GCB Bank PLC, Courage Boti. I truly appreciate your time speaking to me here on Business Live. Now to one of our lead stories, the Finance Ministry is warning that yielding to all demands from registered nurses will put government spending for this year under serious pressure.
Order 4 when a breaking news a Bank of Ghana Central Bank chese concerning sikasem na dia cost wo Ghana hasin see and cedi no kofum kakra against the dollar no so appreciate see cedi no kofum kakra as against the dollar see dollar na man musu nketen coins nketen but almost a little drops of water makes a mighty ocean no wa hwe the way I see the air fall in getting coins na dollar is so appreciating getting na order for say dollar no raise see the Ghana just say ya so be pound of when ensema every Bank of Ghana concerning sikasem na me so begin nyina brew e wo Ghana chibodo for memory fisamba like na ma subscribe na ma share no ma hit notification bell so ma send be ya abri drop your content a wo nya ntempa na wa hwe with ya for aha na me the Bank of Ghana nsem ni nyina concerning sikasem ni nyina besi I will Ghanatube. Makramu nyina